Well, every day after practice, Matt Boyer is lucky enough to be joined by Steve Atwater to pick his brain on who stood out throughout training camp. With more on the key injuries facing this team, the signing of Mark Barron, and much, much more, let's send it down to Matt Boyer, who's standing by with the smiling assassin.
Thank you very much, Alexis, down here at 27 Hall of Fame Plaza with the Hall of Famer Steve Atwater. Steve, we heard there Mark Barron and Bradley Chubb, two guys at very different points in training camp. Let's get first to Bradley Chubb. When a guy's coming off a knee injury the way Bradley is, what's the most important thing to think about? Because we heard from Coach Fangio saying he's optimistic Bradley's going to be 100% by week 1, but it's a work in progress. What does Bradley Chubb need to keep in mind?
I think he needs to realize that this is a process, and that although he's had surgery, he's rehabbed, he's worked hard all summer, it's still not going to be 100% right away. And he's going to have a few minor setbacks where it's going to swell up some, it's going to be sore, guys going to block him on it, and he's not going to feel quite right. It's just a part of the process, and that's a part of building his confidence up too, in terms of, hey, I'm okay, I can play through it. And I think it's important too that the coaches at points give him a little bit of rest, like they're doing now, ice it down, and he'll be right back out there. But I don't think there's any major cause for concern. I think it's just the natural progression when you have an injury of that sort. How
troubling is it to see him on the sideline, or is that just a matter of him using that time for mental reps?
Well, it's not problematic for me as a Broncos fan and all that, but hopefully the thing for me is I just hope it doesn't mentally get to him. I don't want him to think that, oh man, I'm back to square one. You're not back to square one. It's going to be a few steps forward, one step back, few steps forwards, one step back. So it's going to be that until he gets all the way right.
The Broncos also bringing in Mark Barron. Of course, he played with the Steelers, Rams, and Bucks throughout his career. A lot of experience in the league, and a guy who we know is bringing a skill set that the Broncos need, a coverage skill set that they lost with Justin Strnad when he went down with the wrist injury. What can Barron do at this point in training camp? Because there's only 4 days left now in camp. What can he do at this point to kind of make himself valuable to the Broncos?
Well, he can't do what he does. What I think best is, be a thumper, especially not out here. But he can prove to the coaches that he's dedicated by going back and learning that playbook, coming out here and making some plays in some instances where they didn't think he would make plays, because he knows what's going on. And, he knows the basic defense. He's been in the league long enough to where everything is pretty much the same from team to team. You just got to figure out the terminology. And, I saw him out in the practice field today covering wide receivers. And if you can cover wide receivers, hey, tight ends and running backs should be a piece of cake. I'm excited to see this guy on our team. I think he's going to be another asset. Like I said, Matt Russell and John Elway, hey, great job. You guys have put together a really, really great squad.
Came out of college as a safety and then transitioned into a linebacker. What type of the skill set does a safety have that can translate to some of those coverage linebacker skills?
Well, when you move from the safety position to linebacker, your peripheral vision, some of that's taken away. And the offensive linemen, they can get on you much more quicker than they could when you played the safety position. So you always got to be on the lookout for guards and tackles trying to, come and block you, and they not block the guy in front of them, the big defensive lineman. They like pushing on the smaller guys. So that's going to be that's a little bit of an adjustment. But he's been playing that position for a while now. He's played that position with Pittsburgh, played linebacker. So I think he's got that down pat. And I think Broncos coach is going to be in for a treat because he's a thumper.
Barron and former teammate with the Bucks, DeMar Dotson, both trying to play their way into this Broncos lineup as training camp starts to come to a close. Let's get to the A-list now, Steve. I know it's hard because today was more of an educational practice. We didn't really see a lot of hitting as we would maybe in a typical training camp practice, but who did you like from today?
Well, on the offensive side, Melvin Gordon back on the field. He looked like he had a little extra pep in his step. He was moving good, caught some nice passes out of the backfield. And I'm really excited to see what a healthy Melvin Gordon can do for a full season. He and Phillip Lindsay are going to be a dynamic duo, and Royce Freeman in there as well. Again, I'm super excited. Yesterday wasn't the greatest practice for the offense overall, but we still got those same weapons that we had going into yesterday. And I think it's going to be an exciting offense, and Melvin Gordon's going to be a big part of it.
With receiving, the running backs room has showed a very, very nice job of catching balls out of the backfield. Do you feel like that's going to be a huge part of this offense with guys like Royce, Phillip, and Melvin all catching balls out of the backfield?
Oh, I absolutely do. And I don't know many defenses that are going to be able to handle all of the weapons that this offense has with, the tight end position, running back position, and the wide receiver position. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Let's go to the defensive side now. And who did you like with just 4 days left?
Hey, man, let's go with the superstar. After the superstar, Mr. Von Miller.
Steve, that's not exactly an underrated pick right there.
He's not an underrated pick, but to see the way he's working out there, it's really inspiring. And I can imagine the young guys watching Von Miller run all the way to the end zone and run back for the next play. What they got to be thinking, like, man, Von Miller's doing this. What do I have to do? And it's going to make our entire team better.
Just a couple of days left in training camp. That'll do it for us down here at 27 Hall of Fame Plaza. But when we come back, the Broncos Country Tonight guys have a closer look at who might be on the bubble.